Hello everyone, welcome back for another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update, and in this one we're going to be kicking things off with some rather peculiar news. Yesterday, PayPal's crypto partner Paxos minted a whopping 300 trillion with a T dollars worth of stablecoins in a technical error. We're going to start off with this story. Is this a deliberate error to see if it could indeed be done? And it was done. I think it was actually minted on Ethereum. It cost them quite a lot to do so. But this actually did take place. And this is rather strange, I guess, but interesting. And yesterday we reviewed the sort of director of the IMF talking about how she believes the future of money is on crypto. It's digital. Money largely already is digital, but it's going to take a new form. It's going to take a form of being on chain, and in doing so enable this kind of global order that we're moving towards. CNBC report by saying Paxos mistakenly minted the stablecoin as part of an internal transfer before it immediately identified the error and burned the excess PyUSD. The company said in a social media statement. We're going to look at that in just a second. There are enough dollars in global circulation to back the $300 trillion in PyUSD, which would theoretically require more than double the world's estimated total GDP. Paxos, the blockchain partner of PayPal, both of these entities actually were funded and are funded by Founders Fund, which is Peter Thiel's hedge fund, as it were, or venture capitalist arm, as it were. We're going to be looking at some Peter Thiel news in just a second, with the OCC, the Comptroller of Currencies, actually granting Thiel and Lucky Palmer a crypto banking license. We'll review that in just a second. But Paxos, the partner of PayPal, mistakenly minted 300 trillion worth of the online payment giant stablecoin on Wednesday in what the company called a technical error. Market watchers had spotted the enormous injection of PayPal's PyUSD stablecoin on Etherscan, a blockchain explorer and analytics platform for the Ethereum blockchain. Paxos had mistakenly minted the stablecoin as part of an internal transfer before it immediately identified the error and burnt the excess PyUSD, the company said in a social media statement. This was an internal technical error. There is no security breach. Customer funds are safe. We have already addressed the root cause. It added PayPal didn't respond to an inquiry from CNBC outside of regular business hours. Transactions on Ethereum scan show that the mistake had been fixed after about 20 minutes. PyUSD is advertised as a dollar-backed stablecoin that is fully backed by US dollar deposits, US treasuries, and similar cash equivalents. Therefore, PayPal says the tokens are always redeemable for US dollars on a one-to-one basis. However, the technical error highlighted that the dollar peg is guaranteed by PayPal and its independent third-party attestation report, rather than intrinsically tied to the minting of a stablecoin. There are enough dollars in global circulation to back the $300 trillion PyUSD, which would theoretically require more than double the world's estimated total GDP. Paxos' error comes at a time when stablecoins are becoming more mainstream as it's adopted by an increasing number of banks and payment platforms, because it kind of takes us from sending letters to emails in regards to how money is moved. Certainly domestically, cross-border, there's still an issue. We'll probably do a video on that on Friday, and how the likes of Ripple and XLM have been highlighted in regards to easing that transition. So PyUSD, currently the 6th largest stablecoin in the world, with a market capitalization of over 2.6 billion, according to data from CoinMarketCap. We know, of course, Tether, and there's a long list before. This was from Stanny.eth. He's the CEO at Aave. Aave on Friday had their largest liquidation event in history. We've lived through that, by the way, guys. I think my assessment of it is that everything that we're looking at and putting forward is still in play. I'm sorry people had to go through that, but this is crypto. It's full of surprises. I've seen it all, from BitConnect to Luna to FTX to what we just went through. And I'm sure there'll be many more in the future. Hopefully some good surprises baked into that. But we've lived through that. I think if you look at why crypto acted in the manner that it did, yes, it had some macro pressures from kind of Trump and the China-US trade wars. And Trump came out just the other day and said they are in a trade war. The market's not reacting too badly to that. But I think what happened was crypto just got tipped over the edge into liquidations. And exchanges, I think they should be penalised and investigated for what they've done. I truly do. If there's any reason for a regulator to look into something, it's Friday's events. Not just people are trying to basically create alternative systems, and that's a good enough reason to penalise them. No, the exchanges caused 100% Friday. It wasn't Trump, wasn't anybody else. He may have sort of given or put some uncertainty into markets on Friday's close, but it was really the exchanges. But knowing that it is the exchanges, we can sort of move on, and I think technically everything still looks good. We'll cover that in just a second. But this is what the CEO of Aave is saying. Fastest 300 trillion minted and burned. Not a hack on PyUSD, as PyUSD fully backed 1-to-1. Enjoy your evenings. Yes, of course. How can it be fully backed when they can just print accidentally? Now, I do think it's a technical error. This could be getting blown way out of proportion, but it does bring some broader questions into question. Trillion with a T. This is from James Seyfarth. Wild times, friends. Wild times. It is. As if everything that we haven't lived through isn't enough. And actually, my job is great, because there's always so much to cover in this space that we're truly passionate about, and we love you guys partaking in that with us. This is the official statement from Paxos at 3:12 p.m. EST. Paxos mistakenly minted excess PyUSD as part of an internal transfer. Paxos immediately identified the error and burnt the excess PyUSD. Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know what I'd do if it was one of my employees that did that. I think I would just... I mean, it's a big mistake, but can you imagine that happening and then them realizing it happening and what that kind of a whole kind of saga was for them? I mean, it would have been rather comical, to say the least. It goes on to say that this was an internal technical error. There is no security breach. Customer funds are safe. We have addressed the root cause. This is from founder of Chaos Labs. PyUSD is operational and fully backed 1-to-1 ratio. Earlier today, 300 trillion was minted and subsequently burned. We've temporarily frozen PyUSD markets on Aave as we investigate the issue. Funds are safe. And this, of course, is their statement. So very interesting. I think it just highlights the nature of the fiat systems more broadly than anything. They can literally... People are kind of... Maybe it was deliberate to show people, actually, this is kind of how fiat money works. They just literally add numbers to a screen and decide to print it. Obviously, stablecoins shouldn't go down that same path or should theoretically be backed by the very thing that they just randomly print trillions of. In their case, though, they don't burn it. They use it to fund bureaucracy and other such things like wars. But yeah, very interesting that all of this has happened. They did freeze Aave. Stablecoins and CBDCs, I think that last little bit there, are very much one and the same thing. This is really interesting. This came out yesterday. The Office of the Comptroller of Currencies, OCC, is it Rodney that's still there? I think he's still the head. Doesn't mention him in there, though. Has granted the preliminary conditional approval of Erebor Bank, backed by Palantir's Peter Thiel and Palmer Luckey and Joe Lonsdale. Erebor? Wow, so that's probably another Lord of the Rings reference by Thiel. He names all his companies. Palantir is the stone. Who's the evil magician? You've got Gandalf and you've got the other one. Sauron, is it? And that kind of all-seeing ball that he looks into, the one that Pippin handled and it kind of turned him or really badly affected him. That's what Palantir is named after. And he's named quite a few, Mithril Capital, so on and so forth. He names most of his companies after Lord of the Rings, as a huge Lord of the Rings fan. But he's been influential in the crypto space, including being one of the major founders, one of the first founders in OpenCoin, which then became Ripple. Also, there's links there between the PayPal Mafia and Stellar Lumens. These are protocols that are going to play a major role, and this is essentially what they've been approved for, preliminary conditional approval for a crypto bank. Very interesting indeed. They strike again. They are here. And ultimately, these people like Palantir, Peter Thiel, he is a genius. Whatever you think about the guy, he's a walking contradiction, that's to say the least. A libertarian but enabling sort of totalitarian state, surveillance. A Christian, but, you know, there's a whole list of contradictions with Thiel. However, the man is a genius, quite frankly. And he was somebody that fundamentally revolutionized money with PayPal. They were the first people to make internet-enabled money successful with PayPal, and they did that basically based on their UI, along with Levchim or Levchek. I can't quite remember. You know, these guys were attending crypto conferences in sort of pre-2000s. And I believe they are playing a major role in the crypto space, just not publicly due to the kind of combative, at least initial nature of it. I think Thiel probably knows who Satoshi is. Thiel was the person that actually put Brad Garlinghouse onto crypto, or certainly enlightened him about it, and then Brad subsequently ended up Ripple. Anyway, we don't go down that rabbit hole, but you know, they are here, and I think it's very clear the trajectory the crypto space is on. Despite everything that's taken place, sort of post-Friday, the market really doesn't look that bad. Bitcoin is really, regardless of the largest liquidation event ever in the history of the crypto space, Bitcoin is really just where it was a week ago. And I think that says everything you need to know about it. The altcoin market really suffered, I believe, at the hand of exchanges. But I'll take the drawers off. I was drawing stuff for Patreon. If you want to join a Patreon, now's a great time. But this has really just sort of cooped and rebounded. And you're really where you were, you know, a couple of months ago. And I think there has been some damage done, but generally things don't look too badly. The total market was excluding Bitcoin. Eventually this is going to break to the upside, guys. You just got to be patient. It will come. Nothing has changed. Our broader macro view on things looks good. IWM doing exactly what we're expecting it to. It's broken out. We think this has got a broader target ahead of it, and it's gaining ground against the S&P, like we said it would, which is a barometer for a more bullish environment. In the same way that Bitcoin dominance coming down is a similar thing. So do not fear. For Allincrypto is here. We're going to keep you up to date on this space every single day. We truly love what we do here. And there's never been a more exciting time to be a part of crypto than today. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you all to your Thursdays. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you all in tomorrow's Daily Market Update. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.